Hello, I'm Natalie MacDonald and you're watching Sydney Direct. China's easing, an upcoming Japan vote. What does all of this mean for Asia Pacific FX? I'm talking to CMC Markets to find out their drivers and forecasts for the coming year. Mike, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thanks so much for chatting to us today.
My pleasure, Natalie. Good to see you.
Okay, so we're talking Asia Pacific FX. Firstly, what have been some of the drivers manipulating this group's performance as a region as a whole?
Well, of course, in this interconnected world, the global macro themes play out in Asia just as they do in other regions. And so we've been watching the European situation very closely, both Greece and the Ukraine. We're looking at emerging US growth. And it's those twin themes of the actions of central banks, where they're stimulating or withdrawing stimulus, and the emerging growth that we're seeing on a global basis that's driving the markets overall. There are, however, a number of key local factors in the area, and the actions of the People's Bank of China, the Reserve Bank of India, and the Bank of Japan are also very important in currency movements at the moment.
You touched there on People's Bank of China. How is that China easing program likely to change the Chinese yuan story?
Well, it's been very much a sideways story, particularly against the US dollar over the course of 2014 and into this year as well. We've seen an appreciation up to around 625 from lows around 602. So that sideways action is likely to continue. The targeted actions from the PBOC are not directed towards the currency, but it's unlikely that the central authorities there will allow further appreciation while they're concerned overall about demand in their economy.
Another more specific story, obviously we've noted a weakness in the Japanese yen, and this is as Mr. Abe sort of shifts language as we head into that April vote. What's the end goal here, really?
I think it's a political one. The reality is that a falling currency stimulates the economy, and that's just what Japan needs. But when a currency falls, there are winners and losers. And of course, those who are seeking to import to Japan and those who've had overseas savings are hurt by a falling yen. Now, that falling yen has political implications, of course, and I think that the view that's been expressed at government levels that the one-way direction of the yen is universally a good thing is being moderated because of those political concerns.
Now, Mike, in November we chatted about the Singapore dollar. Again, what's your outlook for this currency?
Well, further weakening is very likely. We've seen a major move, a weakening up to 135 US dollars, and I suspect that we could see 140 at some stage this year. And the reasons for that are on both sides of the equation. We're seeing a strengthening US economy and a stronger US dollar, and Singapore is yet to pull out of the damp patch of growth that they've had over the last year as they've introduced structural reforms. Now, those structural reforms will be good news for the Singapore economy in the long term, but in the short term we've seen growth and inflation fall to near zero levels, and until we see some pickup in both of those readings, it's likely the Singapore dollar will continue to weaken.
Mike, always a pleasure. I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For more FX analysis and exclusive interviews, do stay tuned to Dukascopy TV. For now, though, it's goodbye.